I know that not many people watch the Gujarat Rajasthan videos or whatever, but you can just put it on 2x speed, right? You can put us on mute, just leave it, just go do something else and come back.
Yeah. Just help us out, man.
Yeah.
Do us a solid.
Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Nerds podcast. As you can see, there's just the two of us.
Hey!
The CSK supporter, the Bing, is not with us. But it's his loss, really. The real cricket nerds are still here. No, I shouldn't say that.
That's a big accusation.
Yeah, I've missed out on a few, so I can't really talk. But there we go. So yes, today I'm joined with James. How are you, James?
Oh, brilliant, mate. That was a really good game between Gujarat and Rajasthan. And yeah, I was enticed, and I was actually correct as well. My prediction from yesterday, I predicted that Gujarat would come out on top, and once again, I am reigned cricket nerd supreme. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I was trying to watch it on the Sky Go and just kept not being able to because there was a maximum number of people watching. So I did catch some of the game, and the bits that I did catch were good. For example, let's start off with the Gujarat Titans innings. I saw a bit of Hardik Pandya smashing the ball all over the place and carrying on his form. And I was a bit stupid and didn't follow my own advice of putting him in the fantasy team. I decided Liam Livingstone instead. That was a bad idea. Shubman Gill, I was hoping he would carry on with his form, but he didn't really. He looked a bit ordinary, as did Vijay Shankar. And Matthew Wade looked really good in the first over against James Neesham and ran himself out. So other than Hardik Pandya, the top four looked very ordinary. But I don't know what you think about this Abhinav Manohar, James, but he's really impressed me, and I've not heard of him before this tournament at all.
No, neither had I. I mean, I think if you'd said the name, I would have potentially recognized him from, some of my countless hours flicking through the Syed Mushtaq Ali trophy. But no, to get 43 off 28, you've got to do something pretty impressive. Especially against the bowling attack of Rajasthan. And yeah, he was brilliant, and he really boosted them after what was a pretty pitiful start from their top three. Obvious standout is Manohar, and then Hardik Pandya. Like the guy is in unreal form right now. He's making a real case for the India selectors ahead of this T20 World Cup in Australia, because he's bowling 3-4 overs a match. He's batting like an absolute demon, and he's a proper gun fielder as well. So certain players need to watch their backs, like Ravi Jadeja. Your spot's in danger, mate. Or probably more likely, what's his face, Venkatesh Iyer.
Yes,
I'm doubtful of whether he'd get in if Hardik Pandya's in the form that he's in. And then David Miller, brilliant finisher. He's someone that, like, at the start of his innings, I thought he looked awful. I was like, this guy couldn't hit a thing. And then he just turned it on. He rolls back the years consistently, and every time I think that he's over the hill and he just looks bad and he's past it, he then I think he likes to set the expectations low and then just smash through it. And 31 of 14 is exactly what you want from a finisher.
He is only 32, so he's got years. He's got years ahead of him, and I think David Miller's problem is we know he can strike the ball. We know he can play match-winning innings. I've lost count of the amount of times that he won games for Punjab Kings against RCB, But yeah, he's just not consistent enough. And I think that's his issue, and that has been his issue. And part of that is probably due to teams not really understanding his role. And I think his role is coming in at number 5 and 6 and just having a tonk and seeing how far he can hit the ball. And that's when he's most dangerous. Yes, he's been inconsistent, but this season we've seen his inconsistency. And for a team that we thought would finish bottom, pretty much all of us thought he would finish bottom, he's delivering and helping that team not finish bottom. Just to think about Rajasthan's bowlers before we look at their innings, missing Trent Bolt. I didn't see the start of the game. Was that through injury, or did they just
he's got a little bit of a niggle, so that's why Jimmy Neesham came in.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen Jimmy Neesham open the bowling before in 2020 cricket. New Zealand using more of like an
enforcer type thing,
overs. Yeah. And I guess it did help them in terms of it didn't help them, but it does provide them with that extra batting should they need it. But yeah, they definitely missed Trent Bolt. Without Trent Bolt, their bowling looks pretty ordinary. Kuldeep Sen he's still young, finding his feet. Prasidh Krishna, sort of similar. They've obviously got very good spinners in Chahal and Ashwin, and I guess Rian Parag. But yeah, they need Trent Bolt. He's the one who you can bank on bowling 4 overs, getting a couple wickets, bowling well at the death and at the start. And yeah, they were just lacking that today.
I think that power play bowling, it's kind of been the theme of this IPL. I think like you realise the real value of power play wickets. I think if you're going to draw a graph, it would be like of the importance of wickets and how far through the match it goes. It kind of goes like that. Like at the start of the innings, if you can get wickets, they're the most important ones. And Trent Bolt, he swings it around corners. He's a left armer and he's quick. He's really difficult to get away in those first few overs, especially when it's the power play. So sure. I think they did miss him, but saying that, they're bowled relatively tight in the first in the start of the power play, because obviously Gill couldn't get away. Vijay Shankar looked horrible. Matthew Wade was the only decent one, but did the cardinal sin of running himself out. And I think there was another run out later on in the game, wasn't there? So it kind of means that there have been 4 run outs in the last 2 games, which is pretty bad when you consider that that's only from 3 teams as well. Yeah. It's you can't go running yourselves out in T20s. The wickets, while you don't have as much value on your wicket, that's from like when you're trying to hit it and get caught and long on, not running yourself out trying to get a sneaky second. Should we move on to the Rajasthan innings?
Of course.
Obviously the standout was Jos Buttler, awesome. Because oh my goodness, he really had wind behind his sails for that one. And the only thing that could stop him was a brilliant slow Yorker from Lockie Ferguson. It was about 20 clicks slower than his normal deliveries, which are about 150 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it completely outfoxed Buttler. So he did really well to stop him at 54 off 24, but he still looked really good. What do you think of the rest of the Rajasthan innings?
There's just nothing really happened. There was no one provided that support to Buttler. Buttler was batting on a different pitch to everyone else. And yeah, it was just, let's just say that Gujarat did bowl really well, especially Lockie Ferguson, who after his last game, he went at, I think it was over 11 and over in his last game, and to come back in this game and take 3 for 23, economy rate of under 6, it's ridiculous. And he bowled very well. And especially Rashid Khan, 4 overs for 24, didn't get any wickets, but we know what he's like. And young Yash Dayal or Dayal, however you pronounce it.
That's perfect pronunciation. I know for certain.
One of those. Yeah, he looked really good as well, getting 3 wickets. Yeah, he went for a bit, but they just have a very good bowling lineup, and we've said that throughout the tournament with Gujarat. But at the same time, Devdutt Padikkal out first ball, Ravi Ashwin coming in at number 3, 8 off 8. Sanju Samson, 11 off 11. Rassi van der Dusen, 6 off 10. It was only Shimron Hetmai with 29 off 17 who looked fairly decent. And yeah, it was just disappointing to see when you're batting all the way down to Jimmy Neesham coming in at number 8. You think they would be a team who could potentially challenge that 192 that Gujarat put up, but they're just ordinary batting really. And like you said, more run outs. Sanju Samson getting run out.
You're right. There were some cheap wickets there. Samson. I mean, it was some brilliant fielding by Hardik Pandya. Like, it was a really amazing run out. But still, there wasn't any need to run for that. You could just tell that they were ahead of the run rate because of all of Butler's hard work. So they were just wanted to continue that. But one single isn't going to, continue your run rate of needing 10 and over. So, that threw the wicket away. Devdutt Padikkal swatting at one that was going to be called a head high wide. That was an unnecessary wicket. Ravi Ashwin coming out at 3, I thought was bizarre. But when he hit his second ball for 6 off Rashid Khan, I was thinking, oh, maybe this will work. And then he slowed right down and, played a bit of a nothing shot. No, it was actually a really good shot. It was an amazing catch by Miller. That's right.
Yeah.
It was a solid drive. So I actually thought the Ashwin thing, I was completely baffled when he walked in and walked out at 1 down, but he looked pretty good. So I don't mind it. Let's go for it.
I think what we've also got to realize is that Ashwin is a bit of an enigma when it comes to cricket. He mancads people, he retires himself out, he's very outspoken in the game. He's one of those players that you can kind of expect him to do everything and kind of do it well.
He's 400 IQ. That's the difference.
Yeah, he's built different, isn't he?
He's built different.
Yeah.
I thought Rassi was also driving at 1 outside off. It wasn't a great ball. It was just poor batting. Hetmai was the only really good looking batsman other than Butler, really.
I think it's very easy for people to put the blame on Butler in a way, because he was on 54 of 23 balls before he got out. He could have, and there were only 6 overs in. And as a Rajasthan fan, it's easy to sit there and think, well, what if Butler stayed in? What if he just played sensibly for the next 5 overs? We're already up with the rate. Why didn't he just stay in for 5 overs, stop the wickets from happening, and then push on? And that's all well, and that's all good saying that, but this is how Butler plays. He's going to attack all the way through. That's why teams spend the money on him. To
be honest, the ball that he went out on, he wasn't trying to play a big shot. I mean, he was expecting a bumper, I think, but it was I think that ball had his name on it right from the start, because we've seen Butler in tests. He doesn't have perfect technique. So, I think that ball, if he'd played it safe, if he was on 30 off 24, it would have still got him out. So he did well to get the runs he got. And it's a really big shame that none of the other batsmen could support him, really. But it does some crazy things to the table now, because we've got Gujarat at the top with 8 points from their 5 games. The only loss coming to the mighty Punjab Kings, who are currently in 4th. Who has a game in hand? DC and Sunrisers both have games in hand. So that'll be an interesting one to see. Which one of them goes up to 6 points? Hopefully Sunrisers. I'm looking at net run rate and I'm figuring out ways that Punjab stay up. That's my main thing at the moment. And I'm sure it's the same for every team.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's game is Sunrisers versus Kolkata. So as much as I'd want Sunrisers to win, because Kolkata Knight Riders are currently sat in second place. I think I'm going to predict a Kolkata Knight Riders victory there. I just think they're too strong for Sunrisers. But my predictions are usually wrong. So
well, I'm
maybe
going to join you with that. I think Kolkata are going to batter them. Again, I think the Sunrisers team is quite likable, and all of our listeners should absolutely watch every Sunrisers video that we put out because it's our best content. Everybody knows it. But yeah, I think Kolkata are just so strong. Just very quickly before we end, let's do some heroes and villains.
Oh yes.
So my absolute hero is Hardik Pandya. Like, he was utterly incredible the whole game with the bat, with the ball, and fielding. And I just hope that he isn't injured, because he only bowled 2.3 overs, I think, because he dropped a catch, and it was off Shimron Hetmeyer, and that was driven very, very hard, and it seemed to hurt his hand. So hopefully he's not in too much pain. And then as far as villains, it's quite a hard one to pin down, but I think I'm going to have to go for Devdutt Padikkal. I think I could have picked any of the batsmen, but just swatting at one so unnecessarily right at the top of the innings when Butler was doing so well. It was a cheap wicket, and Padikkal's a class touch. He could have been the difference in that game. So I kind of think that's where they lost it. But again, I could go for most of the Rajasthan batsmen. How about you?
I think that my hero is going to be Lockie Ferguson. Butler could have easily won that game on his own if it wasn't for his wicket. He looked in very good form, and I think Butler is going to be the orange cap holder. I just have a feeling that he could be up there definitely within a chance of getting it. In terms of villains, I'd just say most of Rajasthan's batting lineup for just absolute moist batting, really.
Moist batting.
Yeah, we've had stinky, smelly batting. This is moist.
It was beyond smelly. It was moist.
Yeah. So there we go.
So on that note, don't forget to subscribe, join the Cricket Nerds family, and please leave a like. Watch all our past videos and all our future ones. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. The list goes on. Follow our social medias. We are at Cricket Nerds Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Is there anything else, Zach? Fantasy. How are people doing in the fantasy? Because you can still join, and you might still do okay. You're a bit behind now, but you'll still be in with a chance of beating Zach.
Do you want to know the breakdown of my team? I've got Rahul Chahar -20, Livingston captain 4, Devdutt Padikkal -25, Suryakumar Yadav 86.5, and Shubman Gill 13. Yeah,
that's not great. I've also got a few minus points there from Bairstow, Krishna, and Padikkal, but I'm hoping for a big turnaround. I'm currently one place ahead of you in our league, and right at the top we've got Jamin Butler, who, he's
I like that name.
He's even overtaken for an amazing score of 4,949 so far. And if that means nothing to you, it means that you haven't joined the league yet, and you should join the league. Right, I think we've waffled for more than enough time, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.